holla at your boy, okay?
Believe it, Armie Hammer says holla at your boy at the end. Hey, welcome to Black Film School, where we talk about the film canon, interrogate it a bit, and introduce some new films that we think should be added to it. So stop now if you have not seen these two movies. If you have not seen American Psycho, and if you have not seen Sorry to Bother You, go watch them now, then come back.
So American Psycho is about an investment banker named Patrick Bateman, who is sort of moonlighting as a psychopathic egomaniac and is hiding this desire to kill and murder people in very gruesome ways.
I always use an aftershave lotion with little or no alcohol, because alcohol dries your face out and makes you look older. Then moisturizer, then an anti-aging eye balm, followed by a final moisturizing protective lotion.
Okay, so he cares so much about not using alcohols in his skincare because they're harsh, but here he is rubbing almonds, apricot, harsh physical exfoliators on that face. I'm extremely poor, and even I know not to do that. So, like, it makes me feel really smug.
It's really bad to exfoliate that much. Number one, you should exfoliate once a day. There's no need for all this extra shit.
Well, I have no idea about any of that stuff. I'm just a dial soap and cocoa butter kind of person. So.
Oh no, oh my god.
Don't use dial soap!
What's wrong with dial soap?
You use, do you live with a woman?
Yeah, well, I have, my wife only washes with water. She doesn't put any soap on her face.
Does your wife hate you?
Is that a gram? New card. What do you think?
Whoa, very nice. Look at that.
Picked them up from the printers yesterday.
Good coloring.
That's bone. And the lettering is something called Cillian Braille.
It's very cool, Bateman, but that's nothing. Look at this. That is really nice. Eggshell with Romalian type. What do you think?
Nice. Jesus. That is really super. How'd a nitwit like you get so tasteful?
I can't believe that Bryce prefers Van Patten's card to mine.
That scene is so hilarious. I forgot how funny that scene is. I could not stop laughing. And it's funny on like several levels, because there's one where all of these different actors are styled to look exactly the same. So it's like Jared Leto, Justin Theroux, Christian Bale, and I keep on mixing all of them up. And then they're all just showing the same business card at each other over and over.
It's very much like a meeting of like the 90s hot boys. Like the Venn diagram of this scene, like potential lovers on Sex and the City, is like almost a circle.
The movie became absurdist to me at this point, really, because a lot of these guys, their identity is sort of wrapped up in one trying to be better than the other, something as insignificant as a business card. It's just like absurd. It's like, it's
so weird that they're just so boring, right? Because you're wondering who it's for. There are no women in the room. So it's for impressing each other, but for what? Because none of them even seem to like each other. What are they doing?
I think that the scene is also one of those moments where you're like, Mary Harron, genius, because it's like, I think there's moments in the film where, as Kevin was saying, it does become absurdist and it hits like a very intentional satire, whereas when you read the book, Bret Easton Ellis kind of has like a Dan Humphrey Gossip Girl vibe. It's like he's critiquing them, but like, he wants to be them. When it gets kind of transformed through Mary's filmmaking lens, it becomes like an actual satire.
Something wrong? Patrick? You're sweating.
So yeah, I'm a huge fan of absurdist movies, and that's why I really kind of connected with American Psycho. And if you are a fan of absurd satirical films, then you should really check out our next film, Sorry to Bother You.
Hey, Mr. D. Emmett Cassius Screen here. Sorry to bother you.
Hey, young blood, let me give you a tip. You have a white voice in there. You can use it.
I remember being young and being in the car with my mom one time, and she got on the phone and she put on a completely different voice, and I was looking at her like, who are you talking to? And apparently it was someone at her job. And that was the first time where I was kind of aware of code switching in a way. And then when I got to high school, I went to a predominantly Black high school. I did get called Oreo and all kinds of crazy names, told that I spoke too proper is what they said. So when I saw this clip for the first time in the trailer, I fell out. Just because, you know, he's obviously touching on a very real dynamic Black people encounter. In this particular situation, I think it's kind of sad that he has to kind of change who he is in order to make money. But that's what this film really is about. And so to bring that in at the outset, I thought it was quite brilliant.
Hello, Mr. Everett. Cassius Green here. Sorry to bother you.
You got it wrong. I'm not talking about sounding all nasal. It's like sounding like you don't have a care.
I find the clip to be maybe one of the best scenes in the movie because I really love the way that Danny Glover differentiates between proper kind of like supposedly Oreo kind of speech and actually sounding like a white person, which is basically like having no conflict in your voice.
Hey, Mr. Kramer, this is Langston from Regal View.
In terms of my voice, I was mostly like raised by my Jamaican grandmother, and she was like very into enunciating and like using proper English, you know, colonization. So I kind of grew up speaking like this because that's the way that she wanted me to speak. In school, mostly just people thought that I was rich. Which is like, they just said that I sounded rich, which I mean, I wasn't. I was just like working class, but taught to speak as if I might perhaps not be.
5 years as our man amongst horses for $100 million. Holla at your boy, okay?
I think me and Jordan have the giggles.
The way that Armie Hammer says holla at your boy at the end. I think that this is his best performance. Like, I hate when he's supposed to be a regular guy. No, you're not. You're rich. Just be rich.
I was going to say that as well.
Obviously, Boots Riley is a very politically minded director, but I have to wonder how much Armie Hammer is like in on the jokes. His name is Armand Hammer III. It's like, is he even acting? Is this just Armie Hammer? Like, I don't know.
You want to have a false leader for these fucking horse people, but at the same time he works for you?
Yeah. The thing that really shook me when I saw it in the theater was that, you know, it looks familiar. White people or corporate people, rich people are kind of pandering to you and trying to be your friend. But then in reality, by this point, you know, Cassius had already snorted the stuff. He was already turning into this horse person. And so I thought it was like a really good depiction of, you know, the experiences, not just really just Black people. To me, it's bigger than that. It's like really a class issue. You know, people who are, you know, trying to make ends meet and are kind of swallowed by big corporate entities. You know, I was really disturbed by this scene. There was a scene that came right before it where they're making Cassius rap in front of everybody.
And I know you can bust a rap, right?
No, actually I can't.
You know, it really brought back some, you know, horrific memories of being in situations where I'm the only Black person in the room. And, you know, I'm kind of just being used for people's kind of financial and entertainment interests.
Rap, 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 rap.
This is my, like, most disturbing moment in the film. Not just, like, when they reveal what do you call those things? The horse?
Equestrians?
I would fuck the horses.
I don't want to yuck someone's yum, but it's not it for me.
Like I said earlier, I'm a huge fan of absurdity in movies. And when I saw this movie, I had written a script and I had some pretty weird things in my script. And my reps at the time just thought that there was really no market for it. And when I saw Sorry to Bother You, I was like, yes, there is. You know, we can really do it. You can do anything you want to do. You can be as bold as you want to be. And so for just like the fact that he was bold enough to put that on the screen, I celebrated that moment. Like, you know, when I saw it in the theater, I was like horrified, disturbed. I was laughing. You know, it was like so many different emotions wrapped up all into one.
Right, and I mean, the whole thing about running into the Equisapiens is like this idea where it's like, okay, so Cassius is a Black man. There's a way that he can like rationalize the wealth that he has acquired as like, this is what Black people deserve. and then to meet essentially one of the few groups that would be considered lower than Black people and find out that that's who's doing the labor. It's like a very like conscious moment for him, because he's just like, oh, like I thought that, you know, I was the marginalized person and that I'm the only one. And it's like, no, the people who have to do this work that I no longer have to do, I also have to think about them.
Yeah.
And you
Hey, Sugarfoot.
Hey, lovely.
Hey.
Can I get that?
Who invited you?
So I saw the movie and I felt like the gender representation of it was bad. I found the depiction of Detroit to be very limiting, and this idea that she was an accessory to the work movement instead of at the forefront, which a lot of organizing, I would say most of the organizing is done by Black women.
I really like that sentiment. As Jordan said, she's very much an accessory, both in like her desirability and also in like her political function within the film. I think he's just made like a Black manic pixie dream girl. I think there is a lot of really good things about his films, but I think there's a lot of things that need a lot of work and a lot of interrogation.
I went and saw this film right as like film school was ending. Like whenever a Black film comes out, all the Black NYU grad film students go together, and I really loved it. And a friend of mine talked to me about why she didn't, and it really kind of aligned with what Jordan and Sarah Ty were saying. I didn't see it at first, you know, but now I do. So, thank you. Well, for me, is, you know, just as someone coming out of film school, we don't really see films like this from Black filmmakers. I don't know if there's a satire, a Black satire in the film curriculum at NYU right now. And so just giving young Black filmmakers who want access to that kind of work, that is important, you know, and this film does that.
Yeah, I think that we aren't really taught to appreciate Black satire because there's so little funding and so little attention to a lot of Black films, at least historically. I feel like the films that do come through tend to be very like naturalistic. And so to see a Black director play around is very important so that the rising Black filmmakers know it doesn't just have to be a story about you or specifically the kind of stories we see coming up all of the time.
Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. Tune in for more episodes of Black Film School if you want to learn more about Black cinema and get more into the film canon. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the Netflix Film Club channel to get our latest exclusive videos. Plus, hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.